Good evening, everyone, and welcome to WANA Live, the reading series of the Writers Association of Northern Appalachia. I'm Damian Dresick, and this is my co-host,
Christina Fasonic in Wheeling, West Virginia, where it's raining, but more so it's tiring. I just had my second COVID shot on Tuesday, and I realized I was so tired when I gave a student a 965% on his paper.
I bet he's an excellent student, Christina.
Yeah, clearly superior. So I put away the papers and I came on to do the show. So I hope you can prop me up should I fall over in the weeds here. How are you this evening?
We have every confidence in you. The only shot I've got so far is distemper. And several of my friends tell me it's not working.
I was going to say, I don't think that worked.
Oh my goodness. So we are super excited. We have got we have a legend, a literary luminary on this evening. We have the one, the only Ed McClanahan from northeastern Kentucky. He's the author of The Natural Man, the author of Famous People I Have Known, and most recently he's the author of Not Even Immortality Lasts Forever from Counterpoint in 2020. He is the recipient of a Wallace Stegner Fellowship, 2 Yaddo Fellowships, an Al Smith Fellowship, and he lives with his wife Hilda in Lexington, Kentucky. Let's bring on the one and only Ed McClanahan.
Hi, you all.
Hey, how are you this evening?
Hello.
Howdy, Ed.
Hi, Damian.
Howdy. What are you going to read for us tonight? I'm hoping it's from the new book.
It is, which is not exactly new anymore, you know. This book had the misfortune of coming out on the very eve of the pandemic. So
we are both very familiar with that. We both had books come out during the pandemic.
I always think, though, that I was really lucky, because if I had been 2 weeks later in the schedule, it never would have come out at all.
Oh, wow!
It was that close, but.
That was actually what caused us to start the show. Was I had my debut novel came out, and then my entire book tour got canceled, and I'm like, well, I bet I'm not the only person in this situation, and I bet I'm not the only person who wants to go see readings but can't leave their house.
I know, it was frustrating, incredibly frustrating, because I love to do readings, and
we're very happy to have you here.
Well, thank you.
Yes, we're going to disappear, and we'll let you go.
Okay, shall I break it up? I'm going to read from a story called The World's Greatest Fungo Hitter, Ruminations on Memory, Mortality, and the Cincinnati Reds, which is in my new book, Not Even Immortality Lasts Forever. I'm given, as you might have noticed, to unwieldy titles. One more highlight, Ed. Just one more. Okay, since I insist, one more. For a couple of seasons in the late 1940s, the Reds employed a journeyman infielder named Jimmy Bloodworth, the grizzled veteran of a dozen major league seasons, although something of a banjo hitter. I'd seen his picture on the sports page. He was a ruggedly handsome guy, well into his 30s, with prematurely white hair and eyebrows as black as a pair of andirons, like Hopalong Cassidy's. So it comes to pass that in the final hour of a sweltering, steamy summer evening in the dog days of 1949, I'm at the wheel of my mom's still new Chevy sedan, happily chauffeuring myself home from a profoundly gratifying little late-date assignation with my secret extracurricular squeeze, Yvonne, whose dropout boyfriend, Tommy, a coal truck driver, has gone to the mountains on his weekly run. And I'm easing the Chevy through downtown Maysville with all the windows and wind wings open wide, catching the breeze, cooling my still somewhat dampish young self, while simultaneously airing out the back seat after the divertissements that Yvonne and I, in accordance with the imperatives of youth, enjoyed only minutes ago in that cozy accommodation. My heart, needless to say, is high. On the Chevy's radio, Wade Hoyt is describing what will shortly be the conclusion of a long, desultory Reds game with the Chicago Cubs, their only serious rival for last place in the National League, in what has already been, for both teams, a long, desultory season. The Reds are batting. It's the bottom of the ninth, score tied at something like 8-8. 2 outs, runners on second and third, and here comes creaky old Jimmy Bloodworth to the plate. Of course, Jimmy's no great threat, but the pitchers do up next, so the Cubbies are electing to pay old Jim the rare compliment of walking him intentionally. Waite's familiar, creamy, smooth radio voice, in concert with my own imagination, brings everything before my eyes with a high-definition clarity no television will ever match. The catcher comes out of his crouch and indicates where he expects to receive the pitch, chin high and 1.5 feet outside, while Jimmy waits, patient and imperturbable, the bat resting on his shoulder. The pitcher pantomimes a full wind-up and indolently lobs the ball in the general direction of the targeted area, where it arrives in the catcher's mitt with a dispirited plop. Ball one, the umpire cries. Jimmy's watchful old eyes narrow. He appreciates the free pass, but he just don't care for this pitcher's laxy-daisy attitude somehow. As the next pitch sails past, he notes that its trajectory brings it just a little closer to him, perhaps, than the nonchalant pitcher intended. The bat twitches involuntarily on Jimmy's shoulder, as though it has a will of its own. But that ain't my style, old Jimbo tells himself. Ball two, cries the ump. The third pitch comes floating in as big as a cantaloupe, a scant 6 inches outside the strike zone, and slow enough that Jimmy can practically read the Rawlings trademark. So slow it seems almost to levitate before him like a thought balloon in the funny papers, fairly begging him to take a whack at it, which this time he does with impunity. He leans over the plate and swings with his arms extended, and the tip of his bat meets the ball a hair's breadth short of the catcher's mitt and loops a soft, low-hanging liner just over the startled first baseman's outstretched glove and into short right field. The runner on third crosses the plate standing up, and this one belongs to the Reds. It was surely the capstone of Jimmy Bloodworth's diligent, worthy, largely unsung career, his payoff in glory for laboring season after season in the inescapable shadows of more gifted players. I'm sure there have been other instances of batters working a base hit out of an intentional pass, but I've yet to hear of one, and I hope I never do. In any case, it can never happen again, the ritual acting out of the intentional pass having recently been deemed too tedious for television. In my experience, at any rate, Jimmy's stroke of genius stands alone, and I'd sort of like to keep it that way. And because it happened within the very hour of my own initial visit to the Promised Land, I'm afraid I wasn't very good at it, I confessed to Yvonne many years later at a high school reunion. No, she said, but didn't we have fun? From that night forward, I've associated the modest heights Yvonne and I scaled with Jimmy Bloodworth's sudden elevation to the ranks of the obscure immortals. As to the latter, I dare say I'm once again the only living being on the planet who would bother to claim to have been present via Wade Hoyt for Jimmy's singular exploit, even as it was transpiring. Indeed, that I'm probably the only one who remembers that it happened at all, which is as it should be, I suppose, because not even immortality lasts forever. Thank you all.
You're muted, Damien. Yourself.
That was wonderful.
That's so great.
How's that for product placement?
Perfect. Perfect.
That was so marvelous. We get some comments here. Joe Scher said, love these adjectives like indolent. And she thought it was a really wonderful story. I know behind the scenes, I was really cracking up. So it was beautiful and wonderful and funny and marvelous.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that S on your chest is well earned, Ed. Well earned. You've got this inimitable prose style that just I think there's like an entire generation of people out there who tried to write like you and just
Well, I like words, I like language, and it's pretty obvious that I do, I guess.
It likes you back.
It's sort of why I do it, it's my sole excuse for piddling around like I do is that I would like listening to myself think and figure it out, and make sentences. I like sentences that collapse on themselves and leave. You can use all kinds of parts of them. In The Natural Man, there's a passage that I think it's about, I don't know, it's hundreds and hundreds of words. It's a string of dirty jokes, the punchlines of dirty jokes, but I strung them together in one sentence, so it's like a page and a half of a sentence, a page and a half long. And so you never quite get to take a breath, before you're calling the next punchline of the next dirty joke. And people don't object to the dirty jokes much because they come at them so fast.
Well, and the brilliant thing about playing words is that, like Yvonne said, even if you don't get it right, you'll sure have fun with it, right?
Yes, indeed.
What can be more fun than that?
Yeah, it's really why I do it. It's what I write for.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, I wanted to ask, are you starting to do live readings toward the end of the summer, or nothing's in the works yet?
No, I don't have anything going. I haven't, I've had some medical problems and I haven't been, I'm crippled up with what I like to call authoritis. It's an affliction of authors, I guess, but it's also painful. It hurts a lot, and I don't walk very well, so I'm kind of stuck here.
Well, you are welcome on our show anytime, and you don't have to go anywhere, but right where you are to come on.
Well, this was fun. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thanks for being on.
You bet. Yeah, anytime.
Well, thank you very much. And the new book, can you hold up the book, Ed, so people can see it?
This is
yes. Not Even Immortality Lasts Forever 2020 from Counterpoint Books. You can please pick up a copy of this. It's latest work from a real master. All right. Thank you. Christina, do we remember who we've got next week?
Ed Simon is next week.
Got Ed Simon.
Yeah, he wrote the new book, The Secret History of an alternative history of Pittsburgh that just came out, and he's going to have his book launch at the Blue Whale a couple of days after. After he's going to be on our show. I told you how to correct me tonight. I'm all out there with the vaccine. Anyway, so thanks everybody for joining us this evening, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, Ed.
All right, thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ed.